All right, now, there's nothing proverbial about the action taken Thursday night against Soleimani either. It was very direct. It was lethal. And we continue to hear the noise out of Washington, some places around the world, a vote in Iraq. Here to talk more about this is Dr. Alex Del Carmen, terrorism expert, and you may follow him at DC Consulting TX on Twitter. All right, Dr. Del Carmen, so many people have opinions about this. I tend to think that when you're faced with a terrorist and a pending act of terrorism and your intelligence agencies ask you, Mr. President, what do you want to do? There's only one right answer. But where we are at this point with obviously any number of potential concerns on the table about escalation with Iran, what Iraq is doing, what the impact might be with countries like Russia and China. What are your thoughts about the situation as we sit?
For having me this morning. Well, I think what we are dealing with is a potential retaliation by Iran against the United States. The million-dollar question is, when is it going to happen and how is it going to happen, right? But all the cues and all the clues that are coming out of Iran right now with a lot of the rhetoric and a lot of the speeches that they're giving is that they're going to be targeting our soldiers overseas. And so we are incredibly concerned that we are sending thousands of Americans, and they're going to be in harm's way in no time before Iran's wrath against the United States.
Okay, so let me not be flippant. I'm not. I'm being on the level here. But this is, a country led by the mullahs who chant death to America, just because it's a Monday and they got together. So if you have a country full of terrorists that chant death to America, when haven't they been targeting us and our interests? What really changes since we took out the person who actually might be most capable of carrying out those attacks?
Right. So no one is saying that the actions that the United States took a few days ago, as per the instructions of the president, are anything but triumphant and successful in the context of the war against terror. This guy is a really bad player, and he's been on our track list for some time, right? The question is, at this point, how is it different today versus where we were a week ago? And the answer to that is, well, now Iran has an international, if you want to call it that, reputation to keep as it relates to their own vengeance, right? They hate us. They hate Americans. Their government hates Americans. Their government hates Israel and everything that we stand for. So there's no question that hatred has been ongoing for some time now. The question is, when is it going to manifest as a terrorist attack against the United States, in the sense that now at least they have, if you want to call it an excuse, they have a reason to cite before the international community that we, the Americans, have targeted one of their generals, and therefore they need to seek vengeance. So they have a rhetoric now that plays at the international hand, which I'm very concerned about, because I do believe that they're going to operationalize those plans, sooner than later. So,
Dr. Del Carmen, I understand what you're saying. I guess my question comes back. The motivation is going to be as great as ever because of the reputation and everything else that you referenced. My question is, and it seems to be counter what a lot of the messaging has been that's been articulated by anybody who wants to be a detractor of the administration, for example, that somehow or another we're less safe. Somehow or another American interest would have been better off had the lead state sponsor of terrorism in the world still been alive today, somebody responsible for the death of over 600 Americans. And just whether we're talking about running business or doing radio shows or whatever it is in life, if you take the key player, the person most responsible for carrying out a task, and you eliminate them, doesn't that necessarily make it more difficult for that operation to conduct anything successfully against another interest?
Right. So you would think that that's the case, right? And we'll never know the answer to that question because of the fact that we have no idea as to whether Iran has other people that are equally capable and less visible than this bad guy that we took out a few days ago, right? But the bottom line is this. There's no question that this was a target. There was no question that this guy was a bad guy, and there was no question that innocent Americans have died at his hands. So no one's shedding a tear, and no one should, over the death of Soleimani, because at the end of the day, look, this guy is a really bad actor, and he's been harming and will continue to harm the United States. The question really is whether or not there are other people equally capable, equally briefed, equally operational than he was. There are some people around the world that are saying that this guy was overly exaggerated as to his capabilities, and he was more of a symbol than he was an actual operational actor. I don't know the answer to that, but I can tell you that at the end of the day, we have to worry about today, not about those that were deceased a few days ago due to our actions in our war against terrorism.
I do appreciate it. Thank you for the information, the insight as well. Dr. Alex Del Carmen. And again, you may follow at DC Consulting TX. Be well. Appreciate it.